for the more famous Latin poet C. Catulus. Quintus Lutatius Catulus was consul of the Roman Republic in 102 BC, and the leading public figure of the gens Lutatia of the time. His colleague in the consulship was Gaius Marius, but the two feuded and Catulus sided with Sulla in the civil war of 88-87 BC. When the Marians regained control of Rome in 87, Catulus committed suicide rather than face prosecution. As general in the war against the Cimbri and Teutones, Catulus was sent to defend the passage of the Alps but found himself compelled to retreat across the Po River, his troops having been reduced to a state of panic. But the Cimbri were defeated on the Raudine Plain, near Vercelli, by the united armies of Catulus and Marius. Despite their joint success, the two commanders regarded each other as bitter rivals and after the war built competing temples to demonstrate divine favor. When the chief honor for victory over the Cimbri was given to Marius, Catulus turned vehemently against his former co-commander and sided with Sulla to expel Marius, Cornelius Cinna, and their supporters from Rome. When Cinna and Marius regained control of the city in 87, Catulus was prosecuted by Marius's nephew, Marcus Marius Gratidianus. Rather than accept the inevitable guilty verdict, he committed suicide. As author, Catulus was distinguished as an orator, poet and prose writer, and was well versed in Greek literature. He wrote a history of his consulship in the manner of Xenophon, a non-extant epic on the Cimbrian War, sometimes attributed to him, was more likely written by Archias. Catulus's contributions to Latin poetry are considered his most significant literary achievements. He is credited with introducing the Hellenistic epigram to Rome and fostering a taste for short, personal poems that comes to fruition with the lyric oeuvre of Valerius Catullus in the 50s BC. Among his circle of literary friends, who ranged widely in social position and political sympathies, were Valerius Aedicius, Aulus Furius, and Porcius Licinius. Pliny lists him among distinguished men who wrote short poems that were less than austere. Only 2 epigrams by Catulus have been preserved, both directed at men. Cicero preserves 2 of Catulus's couplets on the celebrated actor Roscius, who is said to make an entrance like a sunrise. Though he is human, he seems more beautiful than a god. The other epigram, modeled directly after Callimachus, is quoted by Aulus Gellius and may be paraphrased in prose as follows. My mind escapes me, I imagine it's decamped to the usual place. Theotimus. That's right, he runs the asylum. What if I don't outlaw it, and instead of letting the fugitive come to him inside, he prefers ejection? We'll go on a manhunt, but in truth I'm alarmed that we might be captured in the flesh ourselves. What to do? Venus, I need a plan. The willingness of a member of the highest Roman aristocracy to toss off imitations of Hellenistic sentimental erotic poetry, notes Edward Courtney, is a new phenomenon in Roman culture at this time. As builder, Catulus was a man of great wealth, which he spent in beautifying Rome. 2 buildings were known as Monument of Catuli, the Temple of Fortuna Huius Dii, to commemorate the day of Vercelli, and the Porticus Catuli, built from the sale of the Cimbrian spoils. Marriage and descendants. 3 wives are attested for Catulus. Domitia of the Aenobarbi, the mother of his homonymous son Quintus Lutatius Catulus. Servilia of the Caepianes, who was mother of his daughter Lutatia Q. Hortensa, the wife of the great orator Quintus Hortensius Hortilis. Claudia, of uncertain family but probably of the Marian-aligned branch of Claudia Marcelli. This was probably Catulus' longest marriage if, as seems likely, he wed her to secure Marian support for his election as a consul, which he only belatedly achieved at the Comitia in 103 for 102 BC. However, she is only attested as his wife at the time of his death at the end of 87 BC. There is no record of any children by this match. An approximate chronology of the marital affairs of Catulus is as follows. c. 126 married Domitia 125 or 124 birth of Catulus Capitolinus c. 111 death or divorce of Domitia c. 109 praetor this year. Married Servilia, she was probably eldest daughter of his coeval and colleague as praetor, Servilius Caepio. The latter's apparently promiscuous daughters were harshly abused as whores by Timagenes of Alexandria. c. 108 birth of Lutetia 105 Aricio disaster, and disgrace and imprisonment of Q. Caepio 104 Caepio escaped into exile and Catulus discarded his daughter Servilia 103 Catulus married Claudia and finally elected Cos. For 102 after 3 previous defeats. About the same year the discarded Servilia was married by M. Livius Drusus and Caepio Filius wed Livia, the sister of his close friend Drusus.